Hi, my name is Jeff Barron, and this is a data overview for Haralson County High School. This overview is intended for school leaders such as school administrators, department chairs, and other instructional leaders. The purpose of this data overview is to celebrate our strengths, identify areas that need improvement, explore possible reasons for weaknesses. This is our student demographics. As you can see, we have a high percentage of white students. We're running about 93% consistently. And we also have a relatively high percentage of students that are eligible for free and reduced meals, indicating low socioeconomic status. And we have a significant portion of a significant percentage of students with disabilities. The other categories we are very, very low on. So the numbers there are so small that we really don't even have assessment data on these students because those numbers are so small. Looking at Haralson County High School's demographic trends, again, we're running about 93%, and the line is relatively flat. We are running about 3% black students, and we're running about 1% Hispanic. And again, all of these trends are relatively flat. The state demographic trends are also relatively flat, but the percentages are vastly different from Haralson County. With the state, you see in the 2013-2014 school year, we're running about 43% white, 37% black, and 13% Hispanic. Now, there are lots of other categories, but one did not include those because they weren't relevant to our county to compare with. Here again, we have another graph that's describing our demographic data. Here we just want to show our percentage that we have for eligible for free and reduced meals and our percentage that we're running with students with disabilities. The next couple of slides, we're going to be looking at the EOCT data for different subjects. We're going to be comparing Haralson County High School to the state scores. Now, we're not including a district data because in Haralson County we only have one high school, so we don't have any more district data to compare. Haralson County High School is it. So that's what we'll be looking at. Now, looking at the 9th grade literature and composition EOCT, we see that the numbers are going slightly up for the state. They're also going up for us, and we are closing the gap between us and the state, and so that is excellent. That's good. Here in American Literature and Composition EOCT, again, the state is showing increase, a little stronger this time. We are showed a slight increase, and then we have flatlined here. Now, we do have a very low data point here, and this could be accurate data, or there could be some other anomaly that happened with the reporting, and that's why it dropped so much. What we really want to look at is the overall trend and what's happening. And the disappointing thing here is the gap between Haralson County and the state is getting wider. So this is an area that needs to be addressed. Biology, again, we have good news. The state is increasing slightly. We are matching that pace, and we are closing that gap slightly. So again, that is an excellent thing. Not so much for the physical science, though. We have the state scores increasing quite a bit, and we have Haralson County scores going way down and then making a slight recovery. But we are still showing quite a gap between us and the state. That's something that we really need to address. Here we have the U.S. History EOCT, and again, state is improving, we're improving. The good thing is we're closing the gap between the state and us, and that is something to brag on. So that's again good news. Here in mathematics data is a little bit fuzzy in that we've got so many changes going on in the math curriculum and the math assessments. Here we see that the data for the state and Haralson County both took a dive, and we came out on top. there in 2012 and 2013. And even though we don't have data on Mathematics 1 for 2013, 2014, this is still useful to look at to get an overall trend of what's going on. Mathematics 2 EOCT, again, we don't have data for 2013 and 2014 because of changes in the curriculum, but again, it's still important to look at to tell the overall story. And here we were seeing some good progress. We were closing the gap between us and the state, and that's a good thing. Here we see we actually outpaced the state on our improvement here. The state leveled off and we continued to improve, so we're actually above the state on the economics, business, free enterprise EOCT. Next, we'll begin to look at the comparison between our black students and our white students. First, we'll look at the 9th grade literature and composition EOCT. Overall, we see both groups experiencing an upward trend, and that's good. The only outlier is this one right here, but overall the trend is good and the gap is small for the most part. We do see a little bit of a gap here, and we see a little bit of a gap way back in 2010 and 2011, but overall the trend is positive. American literature and composition EOCT, again, we don't see a large gap between our black and white students, even though our black students, we have very low numbers as far as actually taking the test. So low, in fact, that in 2012 and 2013 we didn't even register data on those students because of this particular site that this data comes from doesn't report when it's less than 10 students. But overall, the achievement between the two groups, very similar. Not so much in biology, though. Biology, we see a very significant gap. Although that gap is getting smaller, we still see quite a significant gap, and that needs to be addressed. Physical science EOCT, again, we see a very small gap in the most recent data. The 2011, 2012, 2013, we don't have a significant enough population taking the assessment that year to report on, but this is a positive outcome here in 2013 and 2014. U.S. history, and we only have 2 years of data to look at here because of our testing numbers, but our gap between our white students and our black students is very small in this particular subject. Again, very good sign. Okay, so to conclude our discussion, we want to look at factors that could be responsible for the achievement gap between Haralson County High School and the state in physical science, and what factors could be responsible for the achievement gap between whites and blacks in biology.